Hello. It's 6:01 p.m., Tuesday, July 11th. This is the meeting for the Raymore Arts Commission, and it's called to order. Can I get a roll call, please?
Cole Young.
Present.
Jessica Berry. Present. Bob Berry.
Here.
Pat Setzer.
Present.
Lauren Jones absent. Randy Crumweedy absent.
Okay, we've got a quorum. Can I get everybody to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and I see we have no public comments. So let's go, and we don't have presentations either, so we go straight to the committee updates. The Public Art Committee did not meet, so we'll skip that and stick to the next step, which is the staff report.
Thank you. So we'll start with a summer scene recap. We started out really strong. We had great entertainment. We had a good number of vendors, even though some of them did drop out that week and leading up to that day because of the threat of severe weather, as we seem to have every year. And then, of course, when the weather came in, we did lose everyone but the very dedicated. I did go over budget on this event, so if you do not forgive me for that, we will work something out with something from my budget. But we spent about $4,000 on the entertainment, including the dancers and the two bands. And supplies and giveaways were about $2,600. Spent over $350 on ads to try to get people out there. And then, of course, we had our security. So it was a little over $7,400 for everything, and generally it's $6,000 because once we stopped doing the big chair, Adirondack chair contest, we put that $1,000 toward summer scene. And so, this also didn't include like the passports and the coloring books; those are in other parts of your budget. But I just wanted to make you aware of that, so that when we do discuss the future of summer scene, because I think that there are a lot of challenges every year. We'll need to take some things into account and figure out if there's a better way to do it, or if there's a different time to do it, or what we want to do. So we'll discuss that in detail at the September work session. I think that's all I have on summer scene. I mean, I know we had good feedback from the giveaways. The t-shirts, again, were very popular. I saw them on pop-up and a picture on social media over the weekend. So I think that that's a really fun thing that was really well received. And of course, the art kits are always a really great great thing.
Huge, yeah. Did you get any feedback from any of the booths, any of the vendors themselves?
I did. When I went through after the rain came and I said, hey, if you guys want to pack up, it's okay. They seemed to understand the weather. I mean, it did start out with a really good crowd at the beginning before the weather came in, so we had about an hour of everything really nice. They did mention maybe have a food truck next time, which I know we talked about that briefly at the meeting prior to summer scene, but I didn't ever get any emails from anybody. So we did the concessions, which were fine, and I mean they went through a lot of food at concessions too. But that was really the only thing I heard, and really it was nothing on us, just the weather.
Any questions for anybody, for Melissa, about summer scene, or comments? All right, next is the budget update.
Moving into budget update, we are going to be just fine in reaching our goal of $20,000. We have, so far to date, we have spent about $15,768 out of our $20,000 budget. And coming up, we'll have about somewhere around another $2,600 with the next 3 concerts and security for those concerts. That doesn't include any additional things we might do. I'm not sure what we need, if we need to do anything. But those are the prices of the fees that I'm anticipating. So that would bring us up to $18,398. So, I mean, we're kind of on course. We really only have a couple months left of the year, and there's nothing else large planned. So that's where we'll be.
Thanks. Any questions about the budget? Okay, moving on to the upcoming events.
This Thursday at 7 p.m. at Centerview is the Sounds of South Kansas City again. It was a full house. We had just a sprinkling of open seats last time. So this time I anticipate another full house. I actually will not be able to be there. I have a conflict. So Greta at Centerview will be there to let the band in and everything and get all of that prepared for them. But I know, Pat, you're signed up. I don't know if anyone else is signed up for that one. Okay, great. So just FYI, I won't be there, but I'll leave the stamper there and the ink for you at Greta's desk. And then the very next night, turn around and we have another show, which is Deja Blue 60s rock and roll covers at the amphitheater, 7 to 9 p.m. That should be fun. And I am watching the weather. I know there's a chance of some rain, but I'm not sure if that will hit us or not, or what time of day, so we'll keep an eye on that. And if you haven't already, sign up for the text line, Raymore Arts text reminders. We actually, I see by that look, you have not done that yet. So about once a week, or a few days before these events, I don't want to spam anybody, so I'll send out a reminder earlier in the week for the events that are later that same week. And we actually, after this issue of the review came out with that information in there, and then with the information also in the passport books, I noticed we had quite a few signups in early June, so that's kind of exciting. So if you, 91896 is the number. You just text Raymore Arts, all one word, to 91896, and then you can be included in those texts too. And that concludes my, hold on. One more really quick piece of information is that if you got my email, we are partway through the grant application process for the National Endowment for the Arts grant. So today was actually the first day that the portal opened up again for me to do the second part. I was in class all day, so it's open through next Tuesday. I will be taking care of that by the end of this week. And if you have any information or thoughts on cultural, historical, nature, or landmarks, any of those topics that are important to you in Raymore, that are significant in Raymore, please share them with me as soon as possible. The artist is going to start kind of getting some ideas together, and I gave him the measurements of the wall and all of that stuff, so he's going to be getting some sort of a very preliminary sketch together. And if there's anything we can feed him that would help him determine what to put in there, that would be great. I think also we could probably, depending on timeline for that, we could push something out to our residents, maybe without exactly saying what it's for, but hey, can you answer these questions? Maybe a quick survey or something. So just be thinking of that and send that information to me. And also our Mayor Turnbow is on the Parade of Hearts Committee. So we should have a Parade of Heart in Raymore. They haven't met yet. He's not sure of the whole process, but I know that we missed out on that for the first 2 rounds. So we are anticipating having a heart here. And those are pretty short durations of the public displays before they move on to find their permanent homes. But just a heads up that we will hopefully have one of those in Raymore. So if you know any artists, whether or not their heart comes to Raymore, but if you know any artists, please share that information, and I will also share that through the Arts Commission for the artist applications. That concludes my staff report.
Well, thank you. We have to make a motion on a consent agenda. Now, this was for May. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion, any amendments or edits to this? No? No? All right. All in favor? Raise your right hand. Oh, that's 4 of us. Now on to new business. Melissa, I'm going to hand this over to you again.
So this is pretty straightforward. We know that we put sway near the fencing of the inclusive playground at TB Hanna Station because there was already a concrete pad there, so it was convenient. It's really does a disservice to the piece. It's kind of hidden there right by the fence. So Bob and I talked. I've talked to our parks maintenance crew, and if that little triangle that's just north of the TB Hanna Station's, the depot, basically where you would used to drive in to one side of the parking lot, there's a nice little triangle. There's a little bit of a slope, so if the slope isn't too steep, then that would be a really nice place for it. I think, Bob, I meant to send that to everybody, Bob kind of put together what it would look like if we moved it there.
It's right there by the, just north of the depot.
And initially, the park superintendent did tell me that he thought that would be a good place like a couple years ago. So if this would just really the decision would be to see if you approve this idea and then to just know that we'll set aside, I think last time the concrete was $200 and everything was $258 or so for one piece. If they have to make the concrete a little bit deeper because of a slope, then it might be a little bit more, but I don't anticipate it being more than $300 or much more than $300 for the supplies.
Okay, thanks. Any questions about this movement of the sway sculpture? Yeah.
Just one question. I know that with all these art pieces where there's always a concern about security, but I'm assuming there's cameras on that side of with the ice skating rink and stuff that
Correct.
It would be handled. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? All right, can I get a motion to approve this?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? And it's another 4. Thank you. Okay, section B, the feather flag. Melissa?
I did leave this agenda item open, if you will notice that. So I didn't get the pricing back for the flags until Friday, right before I sent this agenda out. But the feather flag would, whether it's your decision, whether you want 1 or 2, or whether you want them to be 9 feet tall or 15 feet tall, the pricing is on the memo, but on those nights where there are concerts at the park, for better visibility, for people to help get them off of 58 Highway. If we're at Hawk Ridge Park, we would have just a large, brightly colored flag, single color, solid color flag with contrasting text that would just say concert tonight and have the city logo at the bottom and say at the park. I would love to put a time or a place, but we know that we do different things in different places, so I would like to be able to utilize the same flag as often as possible, and since it would only be out a few times a year for one day at a time, it should be long-lasting. So I'm just in your motion, if you would like to make a discussion now on amount of number of flags and the sizing of flags, or a suggestion.
Okay.
Just give me a little bit of direction when you make the motion.
Sure, we make the motion and second it, and then we have the discussion. Okay, can I get a motion to approve the feather flag purchase and creation?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, now discussion. Melissa, you've got, what was it, like $80 difference between the two? You did send us
About
a little something.
about $60 difference between the two.
One was 9 foot. for
One,
like
the
200 and change.
15-foot feather flag with the hardware, which is the stake to stick it in the ground, is $270.20, and the 9-foot feather flag with the hardware is $211.40.
Okay, comments?
So first, a question and a comment. First, the question regarding the hardware. I'm assuming that it's not like a permanent fixture. We would have to put it like the corner of, whatever corner at 58. It could be basically it's just something you're staking in or pushing in. you could do wherever.
Correct.
Okay. The other thing, my opinion is, if we're going to spend this money, an extra 6 feet for $60 makes sense. Go bigger, something like that, because people drive fast.
Pat, you have Jessica? I got a quick question about the printing. Can they print on both sides, or is this just on one side?
I actually believe it's just on one side and it waves in the wind, because I don't think you can do it on both sides.
Okay. And actually, going to your point, the anchor, is that something that's shoved into the ground and will stay there, and this, or is this like a little, it's like a weighted base that just refuses to let this thing, how does
It's
it
a
work?
stake you shove into the ground, and I can't wait to bring a gallon jug of water out there to soften the ground before I put it in, before every
Right
concert.
there with you. I will help, I swear. But we'll leave the stake, we'll leave the anchor there? Or
No,
we take it every time? Okay. Otherwise, somebody's going to grab it. Okay, any other questions or comments? No? All right. All in favor
Well,
of making...
one second.
Sorry. What-
Sorry.
So just thinking of this from the budget perspective and stuff like that, would this fall into this year's budget, or would this be a next year budget thing? Where does this play?
this could be a this year, it could be both. If you want to purchase I think the initial idea was to purchase two, so that one would be visible from 58 Highway and the other one would be visible at that south entrance of the park, where you go to park for to walk to the amphitheater, or if we were doing something at TV Hannah Station, we could just put both of them out of the right of way, but maybe on either side of the church, to lead people to the park. But if you don't want to spend 500 or 430 bucks this year, then we could always just purchase one and see how it works out for we wouldn't probably get it by this Friday's concert, but for the last two concerts of the year. And we could always add.
So what are our thoughts about getting more than one? Do we
And
want-
I don't think that we're going to run out of money. If you were concerned about that, I mean, we will be getting close, but there's not going to be I don't want to be trying to figure out how to spend money in September.
Yeah.
Yeah, my thought would be, if we're going to buy them, then let's do 2. You could almost convince me to do 3, being that we're trying to get people going on both ways on 58 Highway. They're at that intersection. I'm just thinking of Hawk Ridge. I mean, I know there's different locations.
Sure.
Or we put 2 there to get people in both directions, then they drive down there, and you would hope that they would realize, oh, there's a giant amphitheater over there.
Right.
But-
That's actually, that was, the initial discussions included, I think, 2 on the corners, and that way you knew which way to go. And then 1 down at the entrance of the parking area where everybody seems to park for all the concerts at the amphitheater. So are you more interested in 2 right now, or maybe 1 perhaps later after we see how well it's done, or if it's driven some traffic? Because we'll still have the files. We can always, make an additional one later, or how does that sound? 2? 2 it is. Okay, then that's the question. Can I get a show of hands for approval to purchase 2 feather flags? All in favor? And that's all 4 of us.
Thank you for entertaining me on that. I'm sorry, it was a little bit
Oh, no.
confusing, but I just
Perfect.
didn't have the information. Okay.
Okay, this next section is labeled Commissioner Big Ideas. It used to be called Unfinished Business. We've never had unfinished business. So this is actually something that Melissa and I discussed in our one-on-one a week or so ago. And it's basically, I remember years ago, Pat came, and during commissioner comments, we all said, "It's been great. I love all of you." And Pat said, "I've got this idea." And she spent like the next 5 minutes labeling out, and I think that was the sing-along. And it was like, wow, oh, that's what I should be doing during commissioner comments. What am I doing just saying thank you and that's enough, or no comment? So I thought we can maybe move things around a little bit and have a section if you do have an idea. And it doesn't have to be big. It can be small, and I'll give you a couple examples. One is a couple of ideas that I'm kicking around, and I've discussed it a little bit with Melissa. It's about reviving the Little Free Library sponsorship. And it's now, I'm trying to get it to a point where maybe we're not making any HOAs jump through any hoops. If they have an interest, let us know. We can subsidize a portion of what it takes up to a certain limit for us. And just something to drum up a chance for if somebody was thinking about this, oh, and now they can get help from the Arts Commission. So if, maybe Eagle Glen or Timber Creek or somebody, I know Timber Creek was one of them that wanted, and they didn't make the cut. But if they're still interested, and maybe they've already done something like that, we can then say, we'll help you out, here's $100, or here's $200. I'm not sure what the amount is, but it's an idea, and that's where I'd like to put stuff like this. So if you have something that's coming up and scratching your head and going, oh, this would be kind of cool to do this, this might be a time to bring it here so we can all think about it, let it percolate a little bit. We also have our workshops, our meetings in September. Sometimes we have another one, and you can always still, like we normally do, and say, I've got an idea, let me grab some people and get it on the agenda. But this is a chance to say, hey, here's something that's been scratching at my brain. I want to put it out there for everybody else. So again, that's what this is for. I'm not necessarily saying, that's what we want to talk about right now. That's just an idea, an example of something that would be placed here. I had another idea. Oh, it's actually something that might be just more on the shoulders of staff. But I want to make sure, we talked about it too. It's making sure we have a catalog of high-res images of each piece of temporary art, just so we can say, oh yeah, we've got everything. So when it finally disappears, we can say, oh, we never grabbed a really cool Pops of Brilliance. But if we have that, and maybe even finding some photos, or while they're installing it, get some artist pictures too. Doesn't have to be pretty, but that way we can make a one-time, a table book, or just a little thing where we can put together and maybe use it for posters, maybe use it for gift books. Just another idea, but it starts with, oh yeah, let's get these while they're here, because we're going to miss them when they're gone. Again, that's just an example of another thing that, oh, I wanted to bring this up. This is where I'd bring it up. So if you guys have any ideas, or if you're thinking about some stuff, you don't have to do it today. We can skip right past this if nobody has anything, or we can all hang out for 10 minutes and discuss your really cool idea. So keep it there. That'll be on item 10. And that's all I have to say about it. Melissa, do you have anything you want to add?
I think that if you have an initial big idea, then by the time we go to work session, or next time we meet, or if you want to bring it to Bob and come to me to put something on the agenda or something like that, just what do you anticipate the cost would be, and just make sure it aligns with the goals of the Arts Commission, and how involved do you want to be in that process of whatever it might be.
Good point. Not just here, Melissa, take care of this for me, will you? Let's see. Well, with that, I think we're done. Let's go to commissioner comments. Pat, can I start with you?
I have a small and a medium-sized idea. Do I need to wait till the next meeting to?
Absolutely not.
Okay, small idea. I was wondering, since we sponsor the Sounds of South Kansas City, and they have a program, right? I can't remember. Did they have a printed program?
They initially did the first year or two, but I did not see a printed one at this last
Yeah,
show.
I didn't either, because I was wondering if they had that. This is in relationship to the neat, nifty book that we hand out, but those cost a lot to do, and even they keep trying to give them to people. Not very many participate in all the stamps, but they want to know when things are. That's the thing. They want the information. I was thinking if Sounds of South Kansas City did a program, we could say, would you put this page in which has all our events for the year? Even though you're going to be done in July, there's things happening in the single, that, because people really want that. And the other thing that I was thinking about, I don't know how many seats there are in where Sounds of South Kansas City plays, but that was packed. And what a great opportunity to talk to them about upcoming things and maybe give away some freebie stuff, which could be just about anything. I had a list of a whole bunch of little ideas, and for some of them, I know they can't bring drinks into that place, but if you're at Hawk Ridge or some of the places.
You can bring drinks into Centerview. I still pay an officer to be security. So if anyone wants to bring their
Okay.
their
Well, one
little
of the
cooler of
things
beer
was-
in there, that's fine
Yeah.
with me.
No, well, don't let the band members know that. That's never serve the band beer and then have them play. I have experienced that. Don't do that. But I was thinking, you know, the little sort of koozie things that keep the can cool, especially when you're outside and it's hot and you bring something, and it could have a little ad for our stuff, or we could have, you know, pictures of some of our artwork that's on there, or we could, you know, and just give away some free stuff. There's a whole captive group of hundreds of people. You know, let's have some fun with them and give away some stuff. And we could do it at different events, and people kind of hang on to those things because then they remember, oh yeah, there is that. But people want the information, and some of them have expressed, well, that's when my grandkids will be visiting. They're looking for when they can bring their kids or the grandkids. And so it will just help get the word out, because it is expensive to do the passports. They really don't care about the stamp. Most of them don't. They just want to know what's next, you know. And they get that great review, the Raymore Review, but after a while that's lost somewhere in their house, and yeah, they've kind of forgotten. And zooming right into commissioner comments, I was at the last South Kansas City concert and hung around all the way through it and talked to people when they were leaving. I thanked them for coming. I was thanking people for coming. And to a person, everybody was happy, and they were happy with the experience they had. They were thanking band members for playing. It was really positive, even though they did that thing about the rooster crowed or the chicken song or whatever that was.
That was a good laugh.
It
With the
really pretty
kazoos.
was, but yeah, the people really enjoyed it. So I think it's. They did a great job. It represents the community. People liked it, so I thought, winner, chicken dinner.
Well, thank you, Pat. And thanks for those. Yeah, maybe we can even expand on those ideas. I definitely want to get something in front of everybody, out in front of all the eyeballs. Thanks. Jessica.
Are we past the big ideas? Are we just doing
Oh, yeah,
comments?
this is commissioner comments.
Okay. You know what, I have to agree with exactly what Pat said. I didn't make it to the very end, but, I mean, people were tapping their toes and moving their shoulders and just glad to be there. It was nice to see people that, from our community, also in the band playing. I don't think anybody walked out of there feeling like, it was nice. And they're one of our favorites.
Yeah.
I think we should always include them.
Definitely. Thanks. Cole?
So two things, probably that fall more under the big ideas than the commissioner comments. So I'll start with the first comment. Thank you, Melissa, for all the work on Summer Scene. I mean, I know I was with two kids, it was chaos, but the rain, but we survived it. So as I think about the upcoming concerts and the one on Friday and the one on Thursday, with the text line that I just signed up for while we're sitting here, I think it'd be worthwhile to have either, and it can be you, it can be a commissioner, someone at the beginning of the concert to just let them know. Because we talked about, as you mentioned, Pat, like, how do people know about them? Well, everybody's attached to their phone, right? So they get a text or something, even more so than a magnet on their fridge or whatever. So I think it should be maybe an impetus on us to make sure that it's announced at every concert that there's a text line to sign up for, and to find out some more information on that. As we think about the work session next month, I think it would be worthwhile for us to think of it I think of this from a work perspective, but almost a stop, start, keep going for everything we have going on. Like, look at the last 2 years. We're kind of through COVID. We're through all this stuff. And I think everything should be on the table.
Yeah.
What's working? What do we maybe want to take a pause for a year or two on? Or 3 or 4 years? What are some things that we do a lot of things. What are some things that that maybe the money could be better spent on or not spent on, and really kind of look at all those things and put everything on the table just to have kind of a healthy discussion on what's available. So
You want to go through the wardrobe. No, exactly, I want to do that too.
I think it's a healthy discussion and debate. I mean, I think, yeah, just.
Absolutely.
And I feel like there's no sacred cows, let me put it that way.
Good, good. Thank you. All right, I'll be last. Yeah, a couple of thank yous. I want to do a thank you to the Southland Conservatory of Music for coming out during summer scene. That whole petting zoo with the instruments is fantastic every time. I really appreciate them for doing that. I also want to thank the two judges we had, Sharon, and who did she bring along? Do you remember, Melissa? Do you remember her name?
I think her name was Donna, but I'm not 100% sure, but she was
God.
also from the Tri-County Art
I was
League.
just going to say, they're both from the Tri-County Art League, so I really appreciate them for stepping up and being kind of a soggy judge for us. And thank you guys, too. This was, it was kind of a 3-hour tour, and then suddenly we're on an island, but appreciate you getting wet and helping save as much art as you could. Let's see, and of course, Melissa, thanks for everything. I mean, through the entire thing, front to back. And I wish I could have seen at least some video of that folk band. I heard them warm up, and I was just there for the first part, and so I got to see the first band, but that second band, they sounded really good, at least from the warm up. But I really appreciate all the work you did and trying to make sure all the vendors were okay and trying to do okay. And I know they're troopers; they're used to this. They do it every weekend, but I thank you for doing it. Let's see. Well, and I think that's it. Oh, there's one more thing. I'd like to wish a happy birthday to Lauren's daughter, Sweet 16. Oh, my goodness. I hope they're having a good dinner. We miss him today, but happy birthday, Lauren's daughter. I'm sorry I don't know your name. And with that, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. All right, all in favor? And that's all 4 of us. We're adjourned. Thank you.